What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into yet another episode of the Celtics Talk Weekly Podcast. I am your host, Rob Haytan. Joined with me are my two lovely co-hosts, Ian Angelo and Justin Lowe. You guys know them. You guys love them. Guys, we are back yet again. And this time, in this episode, we have even more C's basketball to talk. The first four games of the regular season are finished and underway. The Celtics obviously out to a hot start. At the time we're recording this, they are 4-0. At the time that you are probably listening to this, they're going to be playing the Indiana Pacers tonight, which will be Wednesday night. We're recording this on a Tuesday night right after that Milwaukee Bucks win that we got to talk about a little bit last night on the post-game show, guys. But before we get started, I do want to say, if you're not following us on our social medias, go follow us on our social medias. Guys, how we feeling? How we doing on this cold Tuesday in October?
Pretty good, pretty good. Having a good time watching Celtics basketball. Uh I I don't know how other teams are doing, but I'm personally having a great time, honestly.
Yeah, it's going good so far. I mean, the Celtics are 4-0. The Celtics are already breaking records just 4 games into the regular season. Everybody looks great. Obviously, no Kristaps Porzingis, but that's seemingly has not done anything to the Celtics team. We saw it in the playoffs last year. And I'm sure we'll talk about it, but guys like Peyton Pritchard this week, Jayson Tatum obviously winning player of the week. A lot of different guys stepping up. Obviously, no Sam Hauser this week, so we got to see Jordan Walsh minutes the other night. So I'm sure we'll talk about that as well. But can't be too sour right now if you're a Celtics fan. I mean, you're 4-0, top of the Eastern Conference, and you look good as ever, and you're not even fully healthy.
Great way to put it. I have just enjoyed so much being able to watch this team nightly.
Mm,
You forget how much you miss it in the off season. It is,
yeah.
especially in this stage, it used to be really stressful. And now after winning the championship, it just kind of feels like each game is way more low key and relaxed, and it doesn't feel like the world's going to end if they lose. So safe to say that I'm a big fan right now, but let's get into it, guys. So the Celtics this week, obviously beating New York, Washington, Detroit, and Milwaukee. Two out of those four
Yeah.
games, obviously against two teams in the upper echelon of the Eastern Conference. The other two teams in the lower tier, lower category, kind of treading water there to start the year. However, these games, personally speaking, if for me, the Detroit game was the biggest test for the Celtics in terms of the scenario they played in. And I'm interested because how do you guys think Boston kind of handled these first four games? What stuck out to you guys most about the Celtics?
I think the Celtics handled the first 4 games as well as they could have, right? Obviously, banner night. We'll start off with that night real quick. Emotions are high, right? Their boys getting their rings, raising the banner. Like emotions are going to be high. New York Knicks. This is a team that they built all summer long to stop the Boston Celtics, even though it's only game one out of 82. Celtics made very quick work out of them. They went on the road then to Washington, a team that they are so clearly better than. They took care of business there very quickly. Was able to rest Jayson Tatum in that fourth quarter as well. And then you kick it to Detroit. Listen, the Celtics and the Detroit Pistons have had some fun games these past few years. Detroit, record wise, might not be one of the better teams in the league, but as far as effort and commitment, they are. They are one of the better teams in the league at really mucking the game up. Those are the toughest teams to play, and Detroit showed that just the other night. Gave the Celtics a run for their money, and then obviously coming back home, facing Giannis and Damian Lillard against the Milwaukee Bucks. Came out flat, looked flat. Weird game. We talked about on the post game show one of the weirder games we've seen in a little while.
Right.
But the Celtics toughed it out, right, guys? And not every win has to be pretty. And we know that come playoff time, a win is a win. Not every game is going to be pretty. It's about if you can find a way to win. And the Celtics, each of the 4 games, have found different ways to shut out games and win games. I think that Detroit game was important, not just because the Celtics won that game, but because you look at the 4 games, 3 out of 4 of those games finished in double digits, right?
Right.
This game against Detroit, this one came down to the wire. Jayson Tatum had to come up big. Drew Holiday hit some timely shots. Jayson Tatum got some stops. Derek White, obviously, a huge block on Cade Cunningham down the stretch. So the Celtics were able to really find themselves in a unfamiliar situation, yet they made it look so familiar, Ian. And that's why the Celtics are 4-0 this week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that the games like Detroit and Milwaukee for most of the game happened. Let's be honest, you're not going to get a whole lot of really competitive games this season. You're not going to get a whole lot of close back and forth games like you did in Detroit. Um, just because the Celtics are that much better than pretty much every other team. So it's good to see that, getting tested early, that they're able to execute, they're able to finish down the stretch and do pretty much what you need to do to win the games. The offense in night one, obviously, it started out with a historic start to the season,
Yeah.
29 3-pointers. I mean, it was absolutely insane the beginning of the season, and obviously it wasn't going to be extremely sustainable, but it had the feeling of like, damn, this Celtics team is insane, like they're going to dominate the league. And even though the offense hasn't been, it's not hitting 29 threes every night, they've still been able to keep up, and they've still been able to be efficient. Jayson Tatum, barring the Milwaukee game, he's had MVP start to his season so far. He's been incredible. Even in the Milwaukee game, he wasn't great shooting, but he still made an impact, especially down the stretch. So it's been great to see. It's great to see that it feels like after a championship, they still have the fight in them to want to continue being the top of the league and continue to compete. And it's great to see everybody improving.
No doubt. We talk about how it's been really difficult recently to go back to back in the NBA. It's getting harder and harder, and the Celtics are looking to kind of be locked in. And I liked what I saw through the first 4 games. Not too shocking to me, these first 4 games, right? Now, if I were to ask you guys, though, if you had to pick something that's been most shocking through these first 4, kind of where are you at? A player, a situation, a game result, really anything that's kind of been the most shocking to you?
I'm going to be honest with you. It's been the consistent play of Peyton Pritchard. And here's the thing. Peyton Pritchard has been a great glue guy for the past 3 or 4 years for the Boston Celtics. He earned that extension last summer. We see him play these unbelievable games in the preseason, but when it comes regular season and playoffs, his opportunities become very limited, right? When you have a backcourt of Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and Drew Holiday, it's really tough to find really consistent minutes for Peyton Pritchard. Peyton Pritchard has made the most of every opportunity that he has gotten here so far in this regular season, and he's done it all season long so far in these first 4 games. Game 1, he struggled 1 of 10 from distance. He obviously didn't have the best opening night, but since then, he has been absolutely tremendous. I believe he had 15 in Washington, 18 in Detroit, 28 just 2 nights ago against the Milwaukee Bucks with 8 3-pointers made. He just makes this look so effortless. And I'll tell you right now, I said this in the post-game show about Peyton Pritchard a couple nights ago against Milwaukee. It's not the rate that he's making these 3-pointers. It's how he's affecting the game, right?
Right.
You typically Peyton Pritchard, this is not a shot. This is just the facts of it. This is just the truth. Peyton Pritchard is typically going to be the smallest guy on the court out of the 10 guys on the basketball court. Peyton Pritchard makes an impact. Peyton Pritchard does not play like he's 6'1", right? He's picking up 94 feet. He's getting rebounds, creating second chance opportunities. He's one of the best offensive rebounding guards in the entire association. And when you have the league's best offense, when those rebounds become pretty big, right? So the way that Peyton Pritchard has been able to seize the moment and really kind of, the game is slowed down for Peyton Pritchard, and you can tell, and he's handling it so maturely, and he's really playing like an NBA veteran, and that has been what impresses me about Peyton Pritchard, because we know that Peyton Pritchard can launch it from 30 feet and hit it on a nightly basis, but the composure and the maturity of Peyton Pritchard has, I guess, what shocked me the most for sure. Not that I ever doubted Peyton Pritchard, but
Right. No,
just
yeah.
the elite that he's playing at such an elite level right now. And yes, we are only 4 games in, but he is in that conversation, at least so far, for Sixth Man of the Year. So that to me is what's been shocking about the Celtics start.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Peyton Pritchard has been absolutely huge. I mean, he leads the NBA in three-pointers made and points off the bench right now to start the season. He's made 19 three-pointers in 4 games, which is insanely ridiculous. I don't know. When it comes to the thing that's most surprising is, I mean, obviously it's the beginning of the season, so this would be kind of the time that it would happen was, not everything is perfect. I mean, obviously we know that, but the defense hasn't been like
Right.
as elite as it has been in years past.
Mhm.
And again, obviously this is because it's the beginning of the season. I'm not going to try to be negative about it, but like it is kind of interesting how the Celtics offense is so good that I've seen times where they just kind of just let the other team have layups because they know on the other end they're just going to continue to score.
Right.
Like it doesn't even phase them anymore.
Right.
And I don't know, they've just been locked in on the offensive side of the ball. And I think that's the thing that's most interesting because there are teams like the Knicks, like the Bucks, who have struggled. And even though they've had somewhat of a core together, they've introduced players who haven't really fit together yet. And that's bound to happen. But the Celtics, I mean, they've been the same team for the last 5 years or something now. So they know how everything works. They just won a championship, last season, and it kind of feels like they've just picked up where they left off.
I love both of those answers. I feel like honestly, those would be my two. If I had to pivot to my third, I would say it's the lack of competition. I knew the Celtics were going to be really good, and I knew they were going to come out hungry and angry and red, but like I didn't really expect it to see it truly every single game. And
Yeah.
I think I've seen it every single game so far. And that's really, really impressive to me that they've been able to. I mean, like, you're coming off a championship. Like, you, in theory, have nothing else to prove. And it feels like they just feel like they're just getting started. And that's such a amazing mindset to have. It's a mindset the Kansas City Chiefs have had. We saw the New England Patriots have it. The Golden State Warriors, they had it. The Bulls, the Lakers. I mean, all these great teams, they've had that mindset. And for me, I think that's what's been most shocking about the Celtics. I'm not going to lie. At times through the summer, I was thinking, all right, there's a chance, this team comes out and they're lackadaisical. They're coming off a championship, right? It might take them a couple weeks to kind of get back into the flow of things. It hasn't been like that for Boston. And, I think that is really impressive. Now, I want to pivot here off, but kind of both of your points here. Ian, in particular, something that stuck out to me, what you said was the defense. And it's weird because you look at the box score and you're like, oh, well, their teams aren't scoring much, right? But you if you're watching the games, it feels like Boston's perimeter defense is, you're like, all right, what are you doing? Like, why are they scoring? Why are they getting in the paint so easily? What is it to you guys? Like, what is your stance on the defense right now?
It's funny because on the script we have what needs to be fixed moving forward.
Right.
And when Ian started to divert and talk about the Celtics, how they look so sharp offensively, but the defense still looks like it needs some needs to sharpen up a little bit. And I 100% agree. That's exactly what I have written down in front of me here, that the defense has to be sharper. They might not be putting up 120 points a game compared to the Celtics 124 points a game, but at the same time, there are moments that the Celtics, I don't know if it's on backdoor cuts. I don't know if it's miscommunications. Uh, I see it a lot specifically between guys like Horford and Tillman, Horford and Cornette and Tillman, the big guys, on where they need to be. Mistakes are going to happen. Like Ian said, you're not going to be perfect, but at the same time, the Celtics really have to pride themselves on defense, and I don't want them to revert. And I'm not saying they will, but I don't want them to revert back to old habits where they let their defense dictate their offense or their offense dictate their defense. We need to see them be reliant on each individual end of the floor, right? And it's weird because there's been a lot of there's been a lot of slippages recently, like a lot of wide open layups, a lot of backdoor cuts that the Celtics just can't seem to figure out. I like to see the pick and roll defense sharpen up as well. The
Right.
offense, I mean, the offense is off to a historic start. I mean, opening night they tied the record for 3-pointers made. Uh, just 2 nights ago, Peyton Pritchard tied for most 3-pointers off the bench. The ball is flowing, the ball is moving. Celtics are getting offensive rebounds. That's like their thing, kicking it out for the second chance opportunity. So the offense really isn't the problem for the Celtics. If there is something that needs to be fixed moving forward for me, it would be that defense.
Yeah, I think defensively, I think their biggest issue, not only, I mean, the perimeter defense, I think is fine. I think Holiday and White, I mean, there's only so much you can do when Holiday and White are doing everything they can at this point. They've locked up a whole lot of great players over the course of the first 4 games. But I think the biggest problem with the Celtics right now is their lack of a rim protector, like a
Right.
legitimate rim protector.
Right.
Kristaps Porzingis is that rim protecting threat when he's playing, and obviously he's not playing right now. So I don't think Al Horford, as amazing as Al Horford is, and he did a great job defending Giannis, I don't think he is that, he's not that big man down low that's going to scare anybody from going into the paint.
Right.
Obviously not every team has that, but the Celtics do have that. And currently he's just not playing. So I think their lack of a legitimate rim protector, I don't think Luke Cornett scares anybody. I don't think Tillman scares anybody. I don't think Al Horford. I mean, Al Horford scares Joel Embiid and Giannis, but I don't know if Al Horford is scary to the entire league. But it's just kind of one of those things where they don't have that guy right now. And I mean, once he comes back, I think he'll be there, and the Celtics defense will look a lot better.
I like that what you guys just said. I'm really very happy with that answer because that's kind of where I wanted to go. You know, Justin, you mentioned Tillman and Horford, and both of you did. And it feels like if I were to put my thumb on it, it's just the quick guards, it's the fast guards. I feel like they're getting put, they're putting other teams are putting our bigs into actions that kind of allow the guards to get downhill. And once they get to that second level, there is nobody waiting for them in the paint to really be a real threat. So I agree with you guys. It hasn't been terrible. And it feels
No,
like
that's
each
the thing.
I
It
know we're
feels like you're
talking
just
like this team isn't
nitpicking.
4-0 right now.
right. No, for sure. But for I don't know what you got, but like for me, the defense, there's always one quarter in the game where it's like, yeah, there's that Celtics defense. In that quarter, it's enough for them to go on that 12-0 run, right? So it's like
Right. Yeah.
that's how it's kind of felt to me. I'm seeing it, I'm just not seeing it for 48 minutes. Maybe I'm nitpicking, but I
I
would
mean, it's hard not to nitpick when your team is 4-0 and
right,
historically good. Like,
right.
and that's not being cocky, that's not being biased. Like it's really hard to pick certain weaknesses out of such a really, really, really good team. Nobody's perfect. We just mentioned that a few minutes ago, but at the same time, uh, there are things that this team has to get better at, but it's really hard to sound like we're acting like we're 0-4 and heading towards the lottery while talking
Right.
about
No
it,
doubt about it. No doubt about it. But I will say this though. Um, the one reason why I think this year in particular, I'm going to be a little bit more harsh on the Celtics with their defense. I think they've picked up their offensive volume a little bit more this year in terms of the 3-point shooting. And
Mm,
I'm for it. I think the quality of shots they're getting is truly a remarkable. I mean, they're open
mm,
threes, and I'm all for that. I would just, there are going to be some nights where they aren't falling, even the open ones.
yeah.
So, I would just like to see them, keep that identity on the defensive end so that when those nights do roll around and they're not falling, they're always going to be in the game. We saw it last year. We saw it in the playoffs. I expect to see it this year, guys. So I'm not too worried about it. Worth mentioning. I think it's going to be highlighted all year, their defense. And just like Ian said, at least until Kristaps comes back. But let's jump into these next 5 games because right now the Celtics are 4-0. 2 out of those 4 games, obviously, against some pretty good teams. These next 5 are really interesting to me. You obviously got Indiana tomorrow night or tonight when you're listening to this. You got Charlotte twice on, I believe,
Mm,
which is a back-to-back, right? Is it
it
a weird?
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is
it's
it,
And
Friday,
Charlotte
Saturday. Yeah.
is.
right? Very weird, like double mini series. I'm for it. Tatum's probably gonna go for 40 in each. She loves playing Charlotte. Then you got Atlanta, and then you got like to me the most exciting game of the year so far, without a doubt. I mean, Banner Knight's up there, but Golden State, guys. Now, before we jump into that Golden State game, How confident are you guys in these next five? What's your prediction? 4-1, 3-2, 5-0. Where are you guys at with these next five games?
I mean, the Celtics should go 5-0 during this stretch. They are better than every single one of those teams. I could see them maybe dropping a game or two. But here's the thing, like you look at teams like the Hornets and the Hawks and the Pacers and the War, like you look at these next five teams that you're about to play, and they might not be the best in the standings, but these are the types of teams that kind of worry me on the schedule, at least in the regular season. Like these are young teams that are really, really pesky. They're there to muck it up. This Indiana Pacers team is an Eastern Conference rematch that we're about to see tonight. And let me tell you, like it was a sweep. It was the closest sweep we might have ever seen in NBA history. Like the Indiana Pacers played the Boston Celtics tough for 4 straight games, right? So they're not a team to sleep on. Obviously, Tyrese Halliburton not having the most ideal start to the regular season, but we know the type of team that the Indiana Pacers are. Obviously, Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner. Talk about Aaron Nesmith playing his former team, always has a solid game against us. And then you go and play Charlotte twice. Charlotte is a team that you're going to see on a back-to-back. Not really a good team, but this is another chance for guys like Sam Hauser to kind of maybe work his way back into the rotation. He's been out the last 3 games, hopefully good to go tonight against the Indiana Pacers. And then Atlanta, I mean, I don't even want to talk about Atlanta. I'm still salty about those 2 games, including the 30-point blown lead. But that Golden State game, and you have it in all capital letters here on the script. I mean, that is 100% the most anticipated game so far this regular season. Maybe obviously, like you said, except for banner night, but
Right.
this is a game where hopefully Steph Curry plays. I know he's injured, but this is a new look Warriors team. Buddy Hield has looked spectacular for the Golden State Warriors. Obviously, you have Steve Kerr, Jayson Tatum, and Jaylen Brown, and all that drama from Team USA. So this is just a really, really good week for the Celtics coming up. You're going to get some really good competition here. Indiana, to me, is a team that could squeak themselves into the top 5 standings wise in the Eastern Conference this year. So just tougher. I think a tougher week for the Celtics than it looks, but they should go 4-1, maybe 5-0.
Yeah, I agree. I think they should go 5-0. I know everybody's hyped about the Warriors game, and obviously we're going to talk about that, but I don't know, this Pacers game, I'm pretty excited. The Indiana Pacers, something about playing in Indiana, something always happens. I don't know what it is. There's always something. There was the thing with Jaylen Brown last year where he got fouled at the end of the game, but they didn't call it a foul.
Yeah,
Or I
got
don't
hit
know.
in the
There's
head.
just
Yeah,
there was the in-season tournament game where they lost. I mean,
Terry
it's just like,
Rozier.
yeah, it's just something
Yeah.
about Indiana.
That's a pull.
Something about playing in Indiana. Something always happens to where it's just a really great game. So I'm excited for that game. I mean, you can even talk about the Drew Holiday steal in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Look at that.
right.
So something always happens in Indiana. So I'm excited for that game. I think they should win both Hornets games. Not going to say it's not going to be an issue, but outside of LaMelo Ball, who did cook us last year, but I think he's having a great start to his season.
Grant.
But I don't think, yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's gonna. I don't think Grant's gonna be the deciding factor here. But and then obviously the Hawks. I mean, same thing with Indiana. Something always happens in Atlanta when they go down there. So
The Hawks
it's just something about the Hawks. I don't know. Trae Young's also having a great year, and we were talking about the fast guards earlier about our defense. So that's going to get tested
big
a
time
lot during this road trip. So
all 5 games. Tyrese, LaMelo twice, Trae Young, Steph Curry. It's a gauntlet for those small guards. I agree with you guys. I think they should go 5-0 through this stretch. But like at the same time, I think what I'm at right now with the Celtics in terms of trying to predict when they're going to lose, it's really impossible because every game, right? Every game they're better than the other team. So there's never going to be a game that I'm going into where it's like, despite injuries or right, whatever it is. For me, it's like, all right, we're going to lose one of these games if one of these 5 teams come out just incredibly hot. And the Celtics, because these are tiers of teams, the Warriors, they're going to wake up for. I can promise you that. And we'll talk about it a little bit more later. But like the Pacers, they'll wake up for. Charlotte, they've been playing some good ball. in Atlanta as well. Like if you don't wake up for those games, they're going to beat you and they'll bite you in the ass. So, I think I think Boston will wake up for them, but if they don't and the other team comes out hot and Boston's not awake, then it could be a long night for those guys. I'm going to go 5-0 for a prediction, but let's jump right into the Celtics Warriors, guys. To me, right, Kerr comes to Boston. This is the crowd to me is going to be on another level. This one in particular, I think means a little bit more to Jayson Tatum. No?
Oh yeah, for sure.
110%. I still think the Celtics are pissed about the 2022 finals, even though that was 2 years ago. I still think that lingers. I think that was a big reason as to why the Celtics beat them by what, like 55 points last year.
Yeah.
They just blew them out. And then, Jaylen Brown was left off that Team USA team as well. And I'm sure he'll be playing with that extra fire. Jayson Tatum, obviously, with the DNPs. Missoula, like that Missoula loved that. Like Missoula wished Kerr sat Tatum for all 5 games.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. I am a little bit nervous about that game. I'm really hoping Jayson Tatum doesn't force things during that game because they're though that's a big game for Jayson Tatum specifically. I do think it means a little bit more to him than it does the other 14 guys on the roster. So I just fear a little bit that and hope that Jayson Tatum doesn't play the forcing game and he just plays his style of basketball and the Celtics style of basketball and could be a great game. Celtics and Warriors is always a fun matchup.
Yeah, for sure. I think every year now, Celtics Warriors at the Garden is going to be a hyped up game, no matter what.
Yeah.
It's always going to be the 2022 finals. That's never going to go away. That pain that they suffered, the pain that everybody who's a Celtics fan suffered throughout that series, that's never going to go away, no matter how many championships they win after. That's always going to be the first time they were in the finals, the first time they lost in the finals. It's always going to be there. So they're always going to be, that's one of the games on the calendar. I don't know if you remember, it was either last year or 2 years ago, but it was a game against the Mavericks and Tatum went off and they asked like Jaylen Brown if he like circles certain games on his calendar every year. And he said like something like that where Tatum has something circled. And obviously I think this one's going to be circled. This one, Jayson Tatum is going to go out there. It wouldn't surprise me if he took like 30 shots in the whole game. It would not shock me, honestly. But at the same time, I think the Warriors are going to think that that's what he's going to do. So honestly, he's probably going to have like 15 assists. He's going to score like 20 points. Maybe he'll drop a triple-double just for the
Can I say something? I feel like there is 2 ways this goes. And it is either that he scores like 45, 50, or he puts up a stinker. And I'm sorry, like it just like
there's no in between.
There's like I feel like
that's normally what Jayson Tatum is on most nights. No offense,
but like I feel like for this game in particular, like it's no doubt he's going to go out there for blood. He's going to go out there
he's going for the 101 NBA world record in points.
He's putting up 81.
Or he's getting his first 0 piece in his career.
I can just like that's how I see it playing out, where it's like, all right, Tatum wakes up, he's angry, he's frustrated, right? Like Ian said, maybe gets 15 assists, but you look at the box score, and he's like 7 for 26 and like 2 of 11 for 3. I don't think that's gonna happen, mind you. We haven't seen a lot of that out of Jayson Tatum this year, but it just feels like kind of like what Justin said, where it's like maybe he's kind of like so into it that it almost is throwing him off his game. Personally, I think this is really interesting from a team standpoint, not just a Jayson Tatum standpoint, because we know how close knit the Celtics are, right? When one of your teammates gets dissed, you all get dissed. And I'd like to see kind of Pritchard and Holiday and White and Horford and Brown kind of stick it to the Warriors for Tatum, right? And kind of be like, all right, no, we got your back, right? Like we get it. Like you didn't get to play in Team USA. They disrespected you there, but here, like this is a different ball game. And I'd like to see that from them. And I think they're going to do it. So as much hype as there's going to be, and I'll tell you what, there's going to be a lot of hype in Boston for this game. It's going to be a sold out crowd. You're going to hear FSD, like you're going to hear it all. It's going to be a hyped up game. I'm really excited to see what the other guys do. I'm excited to see how they handle it.
Pritchard destroys Steph Curry in a 3-point contest. Like
this is going to be one of those games that Al Horford is going to turn the clock back for. Every year there's like 5 or 6 games where Al Horford's going to turn the clock back. He did it for Giannis against the Bucks. It's going to happen. It's going to happen again.
Well,
I don't think we talked about Al Horford enough actually on that post-game show, by the way. Maybe just because I came on late, but like,
no, we didn't talk about him before.
Dude. Yeah. Holy shit. Al Horford. Excuse my language.
No,
he was like, dude.
He was.
I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he does it. It's absolutely insane.
It feels like he picks and chooses at this point in his career when he wants to do it, because like he can't do it for 82 games anymore, right? But I think he's got like a good, like really good 20 games in his system every year between the regular season and the playoffs, and he picks and chooses when it's going to let it out, right? And I feel like last night was one of the games where it's like, all right, tonight, we're exuding about 5% of those, like that's how it felt.
It's like
so crazy.
There's 4 games on the schedule against the Sixers, and like he knows Embiid's only gonna play like 1, so he's like, all right, I'll only play this game against Philly. I mean, Al is just ageless. Al Horford is absolutely ageless, and he's having a great start to the season. His shot looks great. His defense is looking really solid, and I mean, hey, you're gonna have to look at other guys like Keita and Tillman and Cornette. We talk about those big guys stepping up until Porzingis comes back. But for the most part, it's funny. You saw Al Horford barely play in the preseason, and to me, I was a little bit nervous for that because too much rest is not always the best idea. But it's worked out. Excuse me, it's worked out really well for Al Horford, and he looked really solid, specifically a couple nights ago against the Milwaukee Bucks.
Have you guys watched the documentary the NBA put out, like Raising 18 on YouTube?
Not yet, no.
So I was watching that. It was narrated by Al Horford. I was watching that the other night. I haven't finished it. It's like an hour and 20 minutes.
Don't spoil it.
Spoiler, the Celtics win.
Oh, man. Damn, do I even have to watch it now? Oh, my God.
But like Horford obviously narrates it, and he was talking about Brad Stevens and kind of, his path going from Atlanta to Boston, coming in as the star, and then departing to Philly. And I was sitting there and I was thinking, like, one, what a genius move by Brad Stevens that does not get talked about enough to move Kemba Walker for Al Horford.
His first move.
Right. And it kind of made me realize, like, what a seamless fit Al Horford has been just in his first tenure and second tenure for this team. Like, he really has embraced just being a Celtic. And, like, it feels like it fit like a glove. Like, it was meant to be. Like, Al Horford was put on this planet to play basketball and to play basketball for the Boston Celtics.
And I feel like Brad Stevens knew that. I mean, that was his first move. You snap of a finger, Al Horford was a Celtic again. And that was a tough situation, with the whole Kemba Walker thing, essentially traded. You lost Kyrie Irving, but you also lost Terry Rozier that offseason as well. In free agency, you had to sign and trade him away. And yeah, Kemba and poor Kemba with his knee. So Al Horford has been spectacular. He truly embodies what it means to be a Boston Celtic, Hall of Famer as well. And he's played more than half his career in Atlanta, but you'd think he has been a Celtic for the last 15, 16 years with how he's been. So just props to Al Horford. And I'm glad that he stuck around as well, because Al Horford has been through all the ups and downs in his career, especially here in Boston. He was around that team in 2017, 2018 with Kyrie and Gordon Hayward. And it was just a really, really weird time, as successful as the Celtics were. It was just a really weird time, and fell short so many times with the Celtics team. And to see him hold up that trophy last year was just really relieving.
Yeah. I mean, that's the amazing thing about Al Horford, because if you think about it, like, he's been there. I mean, obviously he's been there the entire career of Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
That's why it was so awesome to see them on ring night winning it, because it's like, damn, they actually, it's been since like 2016 when Al Horford
Right.
got here.
Right.
And yeah, Isaiah Thomas was the MVP of that Celtics team. But if you watch any highlights from that Celtics team, you will see Al Horford looking absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I don't think people, I don't know, some people who are just like tuning into the NBA now will not understand how good Al Horford was when he first came to the Celtics.
Yeah.
Like he was attacking off the dribble. He could literally do pretty much everything. He was a beast in the paint. I mean, he still is now, but like the spring that he had when he first came to Boston was insane. And I mean, everyone talks about the longevity of guys like, Kevin Durant or LeBron James, but I don't think people talk about the longevity of a guy like Al Horford, who has been able to play a role basically ever since he came back to the Celtics in 2022. He's been able to play a role that, I mean, it's physically taxing when you have to guard some of the best big men in the Eastern Conference. You got Joel Embiid, you got Giannis, you got Bam, you got all these guys, and Al Horford has been able to basically maintain his body enough to where he is still playing at an elite level from when he was back in like 2016 when he first got here.
I think like the fact Al didn't retire after last year, he might be in this for the long run.
Well, he said he wanted to play like 20 seasons or something like that. I remember him talking about that.
I don't think he's going anywhere, even if he's not playing anymore. Like kind of like Udonis Haslem. I don't think he's going to do it for like as long. I think Haslem was a coach player for like 4 or 5 years. It felt like. I don't think it's going to be like that, but I think you might see like the last year of his career. Maybe I'm off here, right? But I think like the last year of his career, he could be a guy that's just kind of, like a coach player that's just on the bench, coaching him up. Doesn't really necessarily need to get into the game. He can, but yeah, I mean, you
Kind
guys
of like how
nailed it.
Blake Griffin was when he was there. Like
Right,
when Blake Griffin was here in Boston, it's like just kind of be the vet to this team, be the leader in the experience, and when you go in, make sure you're able to fill your role. I think that could definitely be a position that Al Horford finds himself in. And I think that's a position that Al Horford would love to be in,
Right. Yeah.
as well. I mean, this guy sacrificed so much. I mean, he came off the bench for a majority of last season. Will more than likely be coming off the bench for the remainder of this season, if and when Kristaps Porzingis comes back healthy. He had to sacrifice a lot, and he knew that. And just props to Al Horford just for being the ultimate teammate. You hear guys like Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Drew Holiday talk about it all the time, how Al Horford is just the ultimate veteran and a favorite teammate, and everybody loves to play with Al.
Everyone loves Al.
I mean,
well, you know what?
He's the GOAT.
He is. He is. I mean, you haven't heard a peep of one bad peep about him since his time here. And he went through like you guys were saying. He was, excuse me, a part of a lot of toxic teams, right? Not teams, but team singular. That 19 year, you didn't hear a peep out of him. So big props. Like Ian says, he's the GOAT. I do want to talk about something here, and it's unfortunately the segment that we didn't get to script in or write in. There has been this weird, I don't want to call it a trend, but a topic, a conversation, maybe I can put it. It's kind of the same thing it feels like around social media, that the Boston Celtics guys are ruining the NBA's product. How ridiculous is that?
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Who said that? Nick Wright?
That was Nick Wright. Yeah,
Was
Nick
it?
Wright.
I mean, why? Why can we? I mean, why are we giving him any attention? I mean, Nick Wright is absolutely horrendous. I think he put out like a top 17 players like a year or two ago, or 17 players better than Jayson Tatum or something stupid like. I mean, I just can't stand
Yeah, I
Nick
remember
Wright.
that.
Why
Yeah.
I don't even want to waste my time talking about him. I don't know what's so boring about breaking records every single night. Uh, I don't know what's so boring. Clearly, they're not so boring. I mean, they have the third most national TV games this year at 34. They're constantly in the Eastern Conference Finals. They've been in the NBA Finals 2 of the last 3 years. Jayson Tatum, Jaylen. I mean, the list goes on, and you don't even have to be biased. You just have to be a basketball fan to know how insanely fun the Celtics are to watch. And I'm not just saying that because we watch them for 82 plus games every year. Nick Wright is just fake news. We're not bringing up fake news with Nick Wright. I can't. Not even fake news, just wrong news. Like the guy's just wrong. Nick wrong. Like how convenient is it that this guy's name is Nick Wright and he's always wrong? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I don't know why we continue to talk about this guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I think the problem is, Nick Wright, he has a point to an extent. Here's why. The fact It's not the fact that the Celtics are ruining basketball. It's not the 3-point line ruining the basketball. It's not teams using the 3-point line because, oh no, 3 is greater than 2, so maybe we should shoot more threes. Who would have thought? It's the media's coverage of the NBA as a whole. Obviously, we knew how big the NBA was when LeBron, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, all in the 2010s and most of the 2020s, there was, constant NBA media cycle because of all the superstars. They have not done a great job marketing the newer superstars. They don't talk about enough about Jayson Tatum legacy. You're not going to see that. You're not going to see a Luka Doncic legacy. You're not going to see all of these guys. And yeah, it's because they're on smaller market teams. If these guys got drafted to the Lakers, they would probably talk about them more. But it's not a thing. It's just they don't do a good job covering the newer stars. And that's why you see podcasts like us and other fans who do a better job covering teams than the national media does because they just talk about the same things. They don't talk about anything new. And that's why, the NBA is so, it's dying or whatever. But I'm sorry if you hate watching the fact that the Celtics have been able to basically perfect, offensive the offensive game of basketball. I'm sorry that you hate watching, basically the ultimate perfection of basketball at this point.
That is an amazing point. That is an amazing point that, there are about 3 things I could think of at the top of my head that I'd point the finger to that are ruining basketball. Media coverage is, tell you what, definitely one of them. How about the All-Star game? That could be another one. What's up with the All-Star game? And then, like, to me, if you love the sport of basketball, what the Celtics are doing right now is truly the epitome of perfect team basketball. They are playing defense, they are passing the ball, they are playing unselfishly, and they are dominating. And that is enjoyable to watch. And it is very interesting that you've seen, in my opinion, teams that have truly exploited the sport. The Houston Rockets are a prime example with James Harden. And how has that not ruined the sport? I think right now more teams should try, and you're seeing it kind of now. And maybe that is kind of the downfall of the sport, is that teams are trying it and they're just not as good as Boston, so it's not working. But the Celtics have the blueprint to perfect ball. Everyone on the floor can shoot. Everyone can dribble. Everyone can get to dunk. How is that not enjoyable? That's like the epitome of everyone can do everything. That is what that is what the most enjoyable basketball is in my mind, is seeing 5 guys out there that can all play defense, that can all shoot the 3, that can all get a shot off by themselves, and can all finish an alley-oop. It's like, what are we talking about? That's perfect. That's ball.
Rob, they're not taking enough contested mid-range shots. Come on, Rob. How can you say the Celtics have great offense if they're not taking a whole lot of contested mid-range shots? It's so stupid. And sorry, Justin, I didn't mean to cut you off, Justin, but another thing that we're talking about, people bring up the 2014 Spurs and that Spurs dynasty, that all of their ball movement was perfect and they had the ultimate team basketball. That's the way everybody talked about the Spurs for so long. But they don't talk about that with the Celtics, and the Celtics have done it better than them. This is a elevated version of what the Spurs dynasty used to do. And now, everybody that used to love talking about it with San Antonio just hate it because the Celtics are boring because they're so good.
I was going to say,
they don't have.
It's so funny you mentioned the Spurs, because I was going to mention the Spurs as well. I was also going to mention the Warriors. It's like, I understand we've only won 1 title, so it's like, oh, hold on, slow down here. But it's so funny, when the Celtics are breaking the record for 3-point shots, when the Celtics are moving the ball, and the Celtics are still not only are they the league's #1 offense, they're also a top 2, 3 in teams in the league on the defensive end. It's like, it's so funny. You never heard criticism on the Spurs, on the Golden State Warriors, on the Miami Heat when they were good in the early 2010s. You never heard that. You never heard the criticism. But now, like you said, Ian, now that the Celtics are doing it, and doing it better, you're not hearing anything good about it. You're not hearing anything good about it. It's boring when they do it. Oh, Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors hit 28 threes. Oh, well, Jayson Tatum and the Celtics hit 29 threes. Yeah, well, Golden State did it better. It's like the Celtics are boring now. It's like
right.
It's also Boston because
it comes to a point where it's just blasphemy.
Well,
in Stephen A. Smith's words, it's just blasphemy. It's ridiculous.
And you know what? For me, I think the driving factor of this is that in reality, the NBA has never been a better product. Right now, you have the most talent throughout the league that you have ever seen in the National Basketball Association. It is truly remarkable. Any night, any player on the team can score 30 points. That's so entertaining. And, when you look at it, the root of it kind of goes back to what Ian was saying, I think, where you had these stars, LeBron, Curry, Durant, Harden, Westbrook. Their rise to stardom was kind of in the rise of the social media era, where social media was new and everyone was getting on it. And you saw big time, sports pages start up like House of Highlights, and, ESPN kind of shifted away from like the Sports Center, TV show to the social media presence that they are today. And it shifted the perspective, I think, of how we talk about basketball away from the product and more so heavily predicated on finding the new thing. Who's the next face? Who's the next LeBron? And I get it. Jordan started that, right? It's gone from Jordan to the mid 2000s, which is, to me, the mid 2000s is a lot like today, where it's like you had Kobe, you had Duncan, you had Garnett, you had, right? It was just every different teams and different players. And that's the beauty of today's league. You have Edwards and you have Luka, you have Jokic, you have Giannis, you have Tatum, you have Brown, you have the Celtics, you have the Nuggets, you have the Bucks, you have all these teams who are good and young and exciting and really good at basketball and changing the way the game's played. They're playing above the rim and behind the 3-point line. But for some reason, like Ian said, it's LeBron James, it's Kevin Durant, it's Steph Curry. It's like, no, you guys are missing the passing of the baton because you're so focused on these stars that brought you up through the beginning of social media. And to me, that's kind of like, if you were to give the NBA therapy session, well, there it is, right? I feel like that's got to be the answer.
Yeah. And I mean, let's be honest here. Like we know this. It's also Boston. Nobody likes Boston.
Nobody likes
Boston. Nobody liked the Patriots. Nobody liked the Red Sox. Nobody likes the Bruins. Nobody likes the Celtics. That's the thing. Like, nobody likes talking about Boston.
Red Sox are a little bit more liked. Red Sox are a little bit more liked, I feel like, around the world.
Maybe not now, but still, like, it's one of those things where it's like, nobody likes talking about Boston. They don't like feeding into our egos. We've seen, I'm talking to people today, Orlando Magic fans and stuff like that. Like, there's so many teams that have not experienced anything close to the level of winning that Boston has had over the last decade or so.
They haven't sniffed it.
So they hate the fact that Boston is once again another powerhouse in another sport that is one of the biggest markets in the entire league. So obviously, I mean, Justin, you remember that time that we were talking to that one ESPN guy, how like, do they really hate Boston?
Yeah,
maybe it's one of those things. I don't know.
We were at the pub and we were just sitting there, and the guy worked for ESPN, and we kind of asked him, it's like, you guys hate the Celtics, you guys hate Boston, and he went off and said some stuff and whatever. But like, it is true. It just seems like every time you turn on the news, it's just everything's anti-Boston, and it's just so ridiculous.
It is. Well, let's hop into some around the hardwood, guys, because this is a great segue. I feel like some great stuff happened around the league. We're here to talk about it. Cleveland Cavaliers are 4-0. Orlando Magic are 3-1. And Paolo Banchero, guys, coming off of a 50-point outing last night. He had 37 of his 50 in the first half. Amazing stuff. And then, the Lakers, they're worth noting here. They're playing some good ball. We're going to talk about them. 3-1 start for the Lakers, guys. Now, I kind of want to talk about this from a broad open topic standpoint right now. I just talked about the passing of the baton, right? It kind of is like the new guys are here, the next generation here. And like Ian said, a lot of small market teams, the Orlando Magic are a prime example of that, guys. Are the tides shifting in not just the Eastern Conference, but in the league towards the younger teams?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like I talk about it all the time, especially when a team like Indiana or Orlando pops up on the schedule. Those two teams specifically, like those are the teams that kind of make me raise an eyebrow. Those are the teams that kind of make me a little bit nervous, right? And I just think teams with that haven't proved anything yet have everything to prove are just like they have nothing to lose essentially, right? Like nothing to lose, everything to prove. And you look at the players, look at the youth, these guys like Jayson Tatum, Luka Doncic, Anthony Edwards, Paolo Banchero, prime example, just dropped 50 just a couple of nights ago, right? So I do think that the league is shifting to those younger teams, and those younger teams are starting to rise. Those younger players are starting to rise, and I think that is happening in this league.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love watching Paolo Banchero play.
Mm.
He is so good. He is
So
just
good.
so good at basketball.
So good.
And it, like I said before, if he was on any other team, he would be like getting propped up as one of the faces of
The
the
next
next
LeBron. He'd be
generation.
the next LeBron.
But yeah, I mean, he is just so incredible. He is having an amazing start to his season, and
Mm.
it wouldn't shock me if he won Most Improved Player this year, just for the fact that, I mean, I don't know. My only problem with the Orlando Magic is I'm not really a huge fan of Franz Wagner right now. He
I agree.
actively hurts the
Yeah.
Orlando Magic's chances of winning.
His shot has
Um,
been
it's
not
it's
good.
not good. It's not
Not
good. But the Magic outside of that, and obviously there are nights where Franz Wagner is really good, but yeah, the Magic are just a fun team to watch. They have a future face of the league in Paolo Banchero, and
mm.
I think the more that he has performances like he did last night, the more people will recognize that.
And it's like you talk about them in the Eastern Conference. It's like you talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder in the Western Conference,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like these guys, everybody on that team is young, right? Like their like oldest player was Gordon Hayward, and I don't even think he's there this year. I think he just retired.
Right.
So these guys are so young,
I think
and they're one of the
Caruso is
best.
their oldest player, which is insane.
And he's in his what, low 30s? Like he's not
Yeah,
even
he's
up
like
to
29,
Hayward,
I think.
right?
Something
So
like that.
I think it is fair to say that that the league is that the tides are shifting towards the younger generation in this league, which is just tremendous, right? I mean, you're seeing guys like LeBron James, Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, Steph Curry, all kind of starting to take their take their final bow soon within the next few years, right? So it's really nice to see these guys come up and really start to be the face of this league.
There's a common trend, I think, right now is the younger teams are more sustainable in the longevity of an NBA season.
Right.
On any given night, if we were to pick, I think that's kind of why you saw the Lakers win the in-season tournament last year, right? It's like, the older guys are still there, Durant's still there, the Suns and the Lakers, and less so the Warriors now. Some of those older teams, the Bucks, the Sixers, right? Two more teams, they're still there. They could still make some noise, right? Some shake up playoff noise, but they're not contenders. They don't have the legs to do it. Um, the young guys are here. The Magic, I think, have entered that category now of teams that can make a run, like we saw Indiana do. We talked about it before the season started. They're proving us right. Paulo's been special. Anthony Edwards, he's kind of they're still figuring things out. But last night, 30-piece from Edwards and Randall, both of which hitting 5 or more threes, guys. That's the first time that's happened in Timberwolves history. They've been meshing well. The Thunder, like Shai and Chet and Jalen Williams. I mean, they're going to be special. Memphis is now kind of officially back with John Morant and Jaren Jackson. They're going to be good. Obviously Boston and Indiana and I mean the list goes on. So there's no doubt about it here. At the start of the year, you see kind of the best teams in the league. I mean, Cleveland, I don't know if I'd classify Cleveland as young, but they kind of are. They're weird. Like Donovan's like young, old.
They're healthy.
Right.
Yeah.
They are.
And like
They're
Evan
Mobley's
Mobley's
young.
making a leap too.
Yes, he is. Right. And it's like you have Allen, who's old, young. Mitchell, who's old, young. Garland, who's like year 5. I don't know. It's weird. They're good though. They've been playing
Garland's
some good
had a
ball.
good start to his season too.
You know what
Yeah.
though? Cleveland has been this good for a while. The problem is they can't stay healthy.
Right.
That's been their issue
Yeah.
these past few years is they just can't stay healthy. I mean, they have one of the better front courts combinations in the entire league, at least in the Eastern Conference. Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. That's a very, very tough front court to match up against, and at least one of those two guys is always out. So, I wasn't so high on the Cleveland Cavaliers coming into this season. I really wasn't. They didn't really do much in the offseason. But I like them bringing in Kenny Atkinson, and I can tell you though they are definitely one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference if they can stay healthy. But their problem is they can't stay healthy. But so far, so good out in Cleveland.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'll tell you what, it's been a great start of the year. A lot of fun games. And I'm excited to continue to watch this great product the NBA's got going on. Excited to watch the Boston Celtics. Absolutely just continue their hot streak. Now, at the time that this podcast, we're recording it, obviously Tuesday night. So we are next week we won't have the Warriors game yet for those first 5. So we're going to be able to talk about that in the week ahead. I also do want to say something on days, and this is like a public service announcement. I'm sorry it's at the end of the podcast. I really should have said to start. On days the Celtics play on Tuesdays, our podcast is going to go up on Thursdays. We're going to record it most likely, and we'll announce it if it changes. Wednesday night versus a Tuesday night. Obviously, we can't record, watch the game, and there's just too much that we have going on game day in order to pull that off. So, PSA, there's a Celtics game on a Tuesday. Yes, there'll be a post-game show. No, there won't be a podcast Wednesday at noon. The podcast will be Thursday at noon. So just some housekeeping things there.
And then if there's a game on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, we'll quit the podcast.
And then we'll go MIA for about 3 more months.
It will no longer be weekly. Yeah.
Because then we won't know what to do.
We gotta I think we've officially earned our weekly title back.
Oh my gosh. There is 2 back-to-backs coming up.
Is it Tuesday, Wednesday?
Yeah.
Maybe we do Monday. I don't know. We'll figure it out behind the scenes. But
might be the last show ever.
Yeah. I know. Well, this is the 10th episode in a row.
Dang.
10.
Look at us.
Who would have thought? Hey, we were Celtics Talk like every other monthly for a while.
Are we doing a guest a player, or are we not doing that this episode?
Should we?
If you want to guess a player,
do you have one?
Guess a player, I have one.
Oh.
All
right. So let's do a recap. So
look at that.
Week one was Karl Anthony Towns that I put out there. I lost that. I'm 0-1. Week 2 was Kalal Ware that Ian put out there. I also lost that. So I'm 0-2. Ian's 2-0. Justin's 1-0. All right, you got the player. Want to get started here?
Yeah, let's get started. I don't know too much about this player. I just picked the player.
Oh, no. I swear, if we got another Kalal Ware, I got every. All right, whatever. We won't get into it. All right, and you can start us off here with the question.
All right.
How many questions you get? 18?
18, yeah.
All right.
Okay. Is this player in the Eastern Conference?
No.
So he's a Western Conference.
Look at that.
Oh, have we discussed if we're only doing active players, right?
Active players, yes.
Yeah,
Is that a question? Yeah. Is that a question?
No. That's just rules.
That's just rules. Okay. Active player, Western Conference. Did this player's team make the playoffs last year?
No.
No, didn't make the playoffs. So
did this player go to a new team in the offseason?
I'm gonna check.
So while he checks that, we have the Warriors, we have the Kings, we have the Spurs, we have the Jazz, the Rockets. Anyone else am I missing?
Trailblazers,
and then
Jazz.
Jazz, yeah. Okay, so that's 8 list of 8 teams, right? 7 teams, because 8 make it, 7 don't. Okay, we got 7 teams.
Yeah.
Here we go.
All right. What was the
Did he move?
Question was, Did he change teams in the offseason?
He did change teams in the offseason.
All right. Is this player a bench player?
He is a bench player.
Okay.
He is not in the starting lineup.
Okay. There we go.
Okay.
What's our angle here?
Okay.
Do we think we go?
I mean, you could go division, I guess. I don't know. Hang on, I don't remember what teams are in what division.
Yeah, I'm not good. All right. What are we at for 5?
You are at this will be your 5th question.
Oh, we're doing good. All right, I'm gonna fire one off right now, Ian. I'm gonna do it. Is this player an award winner?
Not in the NBA.
Oh, not in the NBA. Okay. Hey, college, babe.
Cool.
Nah. Yes.
Is this player in the Southwest Division? So that's the Pelicans, Grizzlies, Spurs, Mavericks, and Rockets.
He is in the Southwest Division.
Great guess. Pelicans.
Well, it's a team that didn't make the play. Well, his team didn't make the playoffs last year, but he did change teams.
Oh, wait. Okay. Well, is the team he's on currently? Did they make the playoffs last year?
No.
Okay. All right. So okay.
That's how I took that question. That's how I took that.
Okay.
Awesome.
I'm glad.
Awesome. Just clarifying.
I remember.
Okay. So that gives us who? Pelicans, Rockets.
Pelicans, Rockets, Grizzlies, Spurs, Mavericks.
So 4 out of the 5 teams didn't, right? Pelicans did, right?
Is this player on the Memphis Grizzlies?
This player is not on the Memphis Grizzlies.
No, there you go. So the Mavericks made the playoffs, obviously. The Spurs didn't. I mean,
the Pelicans didn't, right?
The Pelicans didn't, no, because they lost in the play-in.
Right? Or were they the 8th seed? No, I think they're the 8th seed against Oklahoma. Didn't they beat Sacramento?
They were in the playoffs.
Okay,
right?
then they were. Okay, that's my fault. Then they were. I thought they lost in the play. Didn't they lose in the play-in last year?
They're in
because they lost to the Lakers, and then they beat the they beat the Kings.
Oh,
and
so I think they beat one. Okay, yeah. So they are in the playoffs, but you're still at 8 questions.
Okay,
and
so they're on the Pelicans.
Yes.
Okay, hear me out, Ian. I'm not gonna officially guess this, but dare he throw out Matt Ryan out there? Could his player
Matt
be
Ryan's
Matt
not on the Pelicans anymore. He's not on the Pelicans anymore.
Is he not?
He just got picked up by the Knicks G League team. He was the number 1 pick in the Knicks G League team.
Yeah, that's a conversation for another day. I don't get the G League draft. Half the guys were already NBA players.
I don't get it.
Because Landry Shamet was the 2nd pick. Whatever.
Pelicans. So who are the Pelicans bench guys? Jose Alvarado is one.
Daniel Tice is a bench guy on their
Daniel
team.
Tice.
Jordan Hawkins.
Who's it? No, Dyson Daniels is on Atlanta now, right? Yeah,
he got traded. Is this player a guard?
This player is not a guard.
Okay. Has this player been a Celtic before?
Not a Celtic.
Okay, so it's not Daniel Tice. I have to get that one out there.
It's not Daniel Tice or Javonte Green, because Javonte Green's also on the Pelicans.
So who does that leave us with?
Is this player a rookie?
Player is not a rookie.
All right. Well, obviously, because he changed teams in the offseason.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, I thought of that.
Thought that one over.
I know. I thought of that after I asked it. I'm like, wait, that's a stupid question.
What are we at? 11? Are we at 11 or 12?
This is about to be your 11th question.
Okay. Is this player a forward?
This player is a forward.
Okay, he's a forward bench player. Who's on the Pelicans? Does this player, is he a rotation player?
Well, judging by his last game played, I would say no.
Oh, so we've lost.
So he's a random bench guy. That doesn't really help us here.
He's not consistent.
He's not consistent.
So he doesn't.
He's got Pelicans players.
So he's a forward. So obviously, so we can take out guys like Trey Murphy. We can take out guys like Herb Jones.
Right.
Take out guys. Obviously, no Zion, no. Ooh.
This guy normally plays forward, so I don't.
He normally plays forward. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is Larry Nance Jr. still there?
No, he's not. He's on
not.
the.
Was he on
I can't
Utah?
remember what team he's on, but he's on Utah. He's not on.
Is he? I thought he was in Atlanta.
Oh, maybe I'm not
Oh
keeping
yeah,
notes on Larry
he
Nance.
he was in the Javante Murray trade. DeJounte Murray trade.
Oh, he switched teams. Who else was in the Javante Murray trade? Maybe right? Didn't he switch teams? He must have came over in the Dejounte Murray trade. What was that
DeJounte
deal?
Murray was the only person that went to the
Is that
Pelicans.
Are you asking me if he came
No,
over?
no,
that?
no, no. I'm just
Oh,
talking.
DeJounte Murray was the only
He
player
was the
that
only
went to the
player.
Pelicans in that trade.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
What word?
I think I have a guess. Well, I want to ask: did this player go to Villanova? Because I think I know who it is, and if I'm right, I think I know who it is.
I don't know. Let me look at images of the guy. Whoa, pause.
Could just look up this guy college.
I am. He did not go to Villanova.
Shit. I had a guy, and it's not
Who
him.
was it?
It's Jeremiah Robinson Earl. It's not him. It's not him.
That was a good guess.
I
Forwards,
genuinely have no idea.
So forwards, obviously.
Well, how many questions have we asked? 13 or 12?
13.
All right. Does this player wear a single digit number? I know this might not be the best guess, but it could narrow it down.
He does wear a single digit number.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Let's think. Who wears a single digit number on the Pelicans?
Zion, CJ McCollum, Herb Jones, DeJounte Murray. Oh, wait a minute. No, because you asked awards and he didn't win an award.
Not in the NBA, no.
Not in the NBA. Oh,
I could
did
double
this player
check.
go to Kentucky?
Not that it's listed here.
Are you thinking Brandon Boston?
I was thinking Brandon Boston, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I got nothing, Ian. You're gonna have to pull something because I got nothing.
God.
I got nothing.
I have no idea.
I mean, do we throw the white flag in?
You have three more
guy
guys.
on a. You said he wasn't a former Celtic, right?
No, he was not a former Celtic.
Oh man.
I'm gonna have to start studying players now because I'm gonna tell you what. I came out with Karl Anthony Towns, and then I got hit with Kalel Ware week 2, and now this week.
You know why I study players in the NBA? Because I used to play hoops grid. So
Yeah,
I used
do
to
that
study
too.
hoops grid, and also like I know some random polls, like if they were on
So
the
he's
Celtics.
okay.
But he
So
was
he's
not on the Celtics.
not a rookie, not on the Celtics.
He'd be like an insane hoops grid guy.
Oh lordy.
Franco, what time you guys recording?
Yeah. And he's obviously won G League awards.
Well, what do you mean, obviously, I didn't say he won any awards. I just said you just asked if he won.
He
any
said not in the
awards. I said,
NBA.
hey, he hasn't won an NBA award.
I say I'm not gonna lie. I say we throw in the white flag. I there's no way I get this. I've learned from my Kalel Ware.
God, I don't know.
Is this player?
Well, here's the thing. Rob, you can throw in the white flag and take the loss, but if Ian still thinks he could take 3 more guesses and then end up guessing the player,
Well, then
Ian's,
I'm not gonna
Ian's
because
awarded the win.
I'll ride Ian's coattail if he can get this and take the win.
Because yes, you're a team. You guys only have 18 questions, but also it's like if you want to quit, but Ian doesn't want to quit, that's not fair.
I mean, I got to sit here and listen to it either way. So if Ian's in, I'm in.
Okay. Oh man. I guess I'll guess a guy.
Well, here's the thing: if you guess the guy and it's wrong, it's over.
I know. I have no idea outside of that. Is it Jamal Cain?
It is Jamal Cain. That's a
no
huge
fucking way. It's Jamal Cain.
And I'm gonna tell you right.
Excuse me, what?
And I'm gonna tell you right now. I think I give the win to Ian and not Rob.
Whoa!
Okay,
whoa,
the only reason
whoa.
Only reason why I knew that
Rob
was because I watched the Pelicans game recently.
No way.
Man.
He last played on October 15th in a preseason game.
I get that win there. I was a part of that team.
Rob, 2 seconds ago, you were begging Ian to throw the white flag.
Wait, whoa.
Dude,
I asked some
2
pivotal questions here, coming up with some pivotal things.
Ian, congratulations.
No, no,
I'm guessing the player.
No way.
I'm 1-1.
No,
Rob is now 0-3.
No,
Rob.
No.
Rob, you cannot. Rob, you cannot take credit for that.
Yes, I can.
Rob,
I absolutely can.
All right, we can finish this argument offline if you want, but we'll figure
you know
out
what? That's a great point, guys. It's been
a player though. What a player.
That was a great player.
It's on the Miami Heat last year. That's
another great episode of the Celtics Talk Weekly. Guys, we're on a roll right now, putting out episodes every single week. We appreciate the support you guys have been showing us on the podcast. Guys, if you like the podcast, check out the post-game shows. They're on our YouTube channel, and they are essentially just a live podcast. You can come interact, ask us questions. It's a great time. So, guys, as always, I'm Rob, Ian, Justin, from all of us here at Celtics Talk Weekly. Thank you so much for listening and or watching us. And until next time, go Celtics.